All right, let's talk about something we've all been through. That slow, gurgling, super frustrating mystery of a clogged drain. You know, it's one of those household problems that just kind of sneaks up on you. One day everything's fine, the next, not so much. So what is really going on down there inside our pipes? Well, let's get into it. And this just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Our drains are totally out of sight, out of mind, right up until the moment they stop working. This quote just perfectly captures that feeling of panic when you realize, uh-oh, a tiny little issue has just snowballed into a massive blockage. But what if you could actually see the trouble coming before it gets to that point? Well, the good news is you absolutely can. Your plumbing system actually sends out these little distress signals, like an SOS, way before it becomes a full-blown emergency. So the trick is knowing what to look for. Let's start decoding the messages that your pipes are trying to send you.
You know, what's really interesting here is how these signs actually tell the story of a problem getting worse and worse. It almost always starts small, right, with some slow draining water. Then, you might see water backing up into your sinks, and those gurgling sounds, that's literally the sound of air fighting its way past whatever is stuck down there. After that, you get the bad smells. That's stuff starting to rot. And the grand finale, the most critical sign, is a toilet backup. That is your plumbing system in full-on crisis mode. So where do these blockages even start? Let's begin our little investigation at one of the most common crime scenes in the house, the kitchen sink. I mean, every single day we send a surprising number of clog-causing culprits down the drain without even thinking twice about it.
Okay, so let's meet the top 3 offenders. First up, cooking grease. It looks totally harmless when it's hot and liquid, but trust me, this stuff is basically the super glue that holds clogs together. Then you've got tiny food scraps and coffee grounds. They don't just dissolve, they build up day after day. And finally, if you have hard water, you've got mineral scales slowly building up and narrowing your pipes from the inside out. Kind of like a clogged artery.
Let's just zero in on grease for a second, because how it transforms is, well, it's fascinatingly destructive. So picture this. You pour hot, liquid fat from a pan down the drain. As it travels down into the cooler pipes, it starts to solidify, clinging to the pipe walls. It becomes this sticky, greasy trap, and it catches every little food particle that flows by, until, boom, it forms a solid, super stubborn plug.
All right, moving on from the kitchen, our investigation now takes us to the next major hotspot, the bathroom. In here, the culprits aren't food, but they're the byproducts of our daily routines. And let me tell you, they create some of the absolute worst clogs you can imagine.
Hair. It's the undisputed champion of shower drain clogs, weaving itself into these dense, gross mats with soap scum. But look at this whole list. Dental floss is a surprisingly sneaky villain, and we're gonna see exactly why in just a sec. And of course, even something that's meant to be flushed, like toilet paper, can totally overwhelm the system if you use too much. So here's the crazy part about dental floss. How can something so thin cause so much trouble? Well, it doesn't dissolve, ever. Instead, it wraps around other gunk, and it creates this non-biodegradable net. And this net is incredibly good at catching hair, tissue, you name it, forming a clog that is remarkably tough to break apart. And now let's talk about one of the biggest myths in the modern home. You know those wipes that are marketed as flushable? Yeah, they are a plumber's absolute nightmare. See, unlike toilet paper, they just don't break down in water. They create these massive clogs that cause serious problems, not just for your house, but for entire city sewer systems. Okay, so we've covered the kitchen and the bathroom, but sometimes the source of the clog isn't something we put down the drain at all. Sometimes the biggest threats can actually come from outside your home or even from the structure of the pipes themselves.
Now we're getting into some of the most destructive forces. Tree roots, for example, are relentless. They're always searching for water. A pipe belly, that's a structural problem, basically a dip in the pipe that becomes a permanent trap for waste. And then you've got the absolute no-goes. Kitty litter, which literally turns to cement inside your pipes. And the classic household accident, a small toy getting flushed down the toilet.
Seriously, think about it from the tree's perspective for a second. Your pipes are this constant, reliable source of water and nutrients, so the roots will find the tiniest little crack, they'll force their way in, and then they'll just grow into this dense, powerful mass that can completely block and sometimes even destroy the entire pipe. It is a full-scale invasion from the natural world. So what happens when you're up against one of these enormous blockages, whether it's from grease or roots or one of those so-called flushable wipes? This is where professional high-tech solutions come in because, let's be honest, a simple plunger just isn't going to cut it.
Professionals often turn to something called hydrojetting. Now, this isn't just about poking a little hole through the clog. We're talking about using extremely high-pressure water to literally scour the entire inside of the pipe clean, stripping away years of built-up grease, scale, and whatever else is in there.
This comparison really says it all. On one hand, you have those chemical cleaners. They often just burn a narrow little tunnel through the clog, leaving most of the buildup behind. And those harsh chemicals can actually damage your pipes. But hydrojetting is totally different. It uses pure, high-pressure water to scour the entire pipe, restoring it to its full flow, and it does it safely and really effectively. So at the end of the day, why call a pro? Because figuring out the real cause of a clog, is it grease, is it a structural issue, is it tree roots? That takes special tools and a lot of expertise. They're not just going to solve the immediate problem, they're going to identify what's causing it so you can keep it from happening all over again. So after this deep dive inside our pipes, it really all comes down to a simple choice, doesn't it? Your drain, it is not a trash can. So knowing what you know now, what's one thing you're going to stop sending down there? Thanks for tuning in.